What's going on, everybody? It's your host, Will Cooper, coming back for another episode of the HuntStand podcast. On today's episode, we are going to be talking archery, and specifically, we're going to be talking about the bow buying process. And I thought none other would be better than himself to bring on Mr. Dale Mannasmith of Attaboyz Archery out of Marysville, Ohio. Now, Dale has been doing this for quite some time. Him, his brother, and all his guys there at the shop do an amazing job. I've been to that shop, and they've got really, really great bows, great accessories, high-quality brands, an awesome range, just an all-around great shop. And you can tell right away when you pull up into the parking lot that this thing is an archery range. It's a sweet shop, so if you ever get the chance, definitely encourage you to head up to Marysville, Ohio, check out their shop. But I'm getting Dale on here to talk about a tough subject at times, because I feel that there are some shops out there, not all of them, but there are a few shops out there that when you walk in the doors, they just see dollar signs. They look at you and they want to offload their inventory, and if you've got a big pocketbook, they're going to try and offload the most expensive bow that they can on you. And so I want to bring Dale on here to kind of help guide you through that bow buying process. Whether you've been doing this for a little bit or a long time, your whole life, I think this is stuff that everybody needs to hear, because, let's be honest, there are a ton of options out there, from bows, accessories, and arrows. And Dale brings some hard, cold truth, facts to us that I think everybody needs to hear. He's going to help walk you through that process, so that way you don't fall victim to inventory offloading. I think he's going to bring some really great pointers here for y'all to think about, things to do when you walk into the shop, and things to ask and things to look for. And so, nonetheless, we got Dale on here. We're going to talk about that. For all those that have been listening to the podcast, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming back for another episode. If you're new, make sure you head on over and subscribe, rate, review. It helps us out. We greatly appreciate it. We really, really can't thank all of y'all enough for all of your support of the HuntStand podcast. But I'm going to quit rambling, and Dale and I are going to dive into this, maybe go down a couple rabbit holes, but we're going to dive in, walk you through the bow hunting process. So we hope that y'all are able to take something from this before you buy your next bow this summer. So enjoy, y'all. Man, you ready to get this thing rolling?
Yeah, by all means, bro.
Sweet, dude. Well, man, I can't thank you enough for hopping on the podcast with us today. And I'm just excited to get you on here, because I want to dive into the whole bow buying process, walk people through it, get your take on it, points, and everything else that you might have to kind of give people some golden nuggets, so that way they're better prepared whenever they walk into a shop, especially for those newer archers, newer bow hunters, people that are picking up a bow for the first time. So, man, just can't thank you enough for hopping on the podcast with us.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you having me on. We're thrilled to be here, buddy. I appreciate it, and look forward to talking all things archery shop here.
Well, dude, first and foremost, the thing that I like to do with guests when I first get them on the podcast is I want you to give us a 30-foot tree stand view of who you are, where you're from, how you got into what you're doing. So, man, give us that view of who you are.
Yeah, no problem, man. I attribute all of this, the shop, my hunting career, pretty much everything, to a small piece of acreage that my dad bought 30 years ago, 52 acres of land here in central Ohio. And he didn't really hunt. He didn't understand hunting. He just kind of knew it as an old school farm boy, run around and take a gun out and go after it, and then come home, and whatever you got. So little did he know, I think he planted a seed in me that I would take and run with for a career. So started archery hunting and fell in love with the sport. Having that own little private piece of land to manage became like an obsession. And then I'll never forget, we were walking out of the woods one October, my brother-in-law Matt, who owns the shop with me, and he asked me, he said, both of us were working corporate lives, living the corporate, run around, and just stealing what little time we could to get to the woods. And he said, hey man, like, Central Ohio could really use a sweet bow shop. And I'm like, well, yeah, that sounds great. Who's going to do it? And he looked at me and he's like, let's do it, man. Like, let's sink everything we've got, and let's dive head first. And so Matt and I pretty much left the corporate world. I think we took those chances that most people only kind of dream about, where you're just, it's kind of like a movie where you're like, you know what, I'm going to give it all. I'm going to give up everything I thought I was going to do. I thought the safety of a corporate job and all that. I was like, let's do it. Let's go all out. So about 6 years ago, we put together a plan to build what we wanted as bow hunters. There was a lot of different shops in and around Central Ohio, mainly like chain stores. This is a market that is loaded with big box. If you want to find a Cabela's, a Field and Stream, you name it, all these big box stores, you can find it pretty easily in Columbus. So we decided we were going to be an archery only exclusive pro shop. And that put us in rare air right off the rip, because as you know, in the industry, a lot of times, and this is what Central Ohio sees a lot, was a gun counter that wraps 3/4 of the way around the entire place. And then you have this 12-foot archery section over here, right? Yeah. And they sell high-end bows. And they've got a couple guys that work full-time, maybe retired guys, you name it, younger kids, whatever, And so we decided, like, it's so funny, Will, when I look back at what I was purchasing early in my archery career and how we've developed what we have here, mm-hmm. and how we were just totally looked over as consumers, where it was like, man, that was on my bow. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. That's how my arrow flew. Holy cow, it was so bad. So we just decided, like, there was more from a consumer aspect, right? Just to give the bow hunter, the target archer, you name it, better service. And so we built a facility that catches a lot of eyes, and it's beautiful on the outside. But we knew that the nuts and bolts, the important stuff, was going to be done on the customer service side of things. So we built that. We kind of hang our hat on that, and that's what this shop kind of stands for. Is I'm not really interested in low performance, low cost stuff. Archery to me can be so much better. And we kind of promote that here. We don't typically cater to, stuff that just is not great. We love high-end stuff. This is the stuff that's on our bows. We want to promote that. We want that experience for the customer, them to see what we see in archery, So here it is, Attaboyz Archery in Marysville, Ohio. This place has kind of gone. I think we've kind of bucked a lot of trends in 5 years. We carry some top name brands. If it was up to me, I'd have an even bigger budget and carry more. But when you're 5 years in, you got to decide, what are people liking and where should we invest our dollars? So we're getting there. It's just, it takes a little bit of time with the archery business. So,
dude,
yeah, man, that's it.
I got to say, man, like, when I came to your shop last year for that elk-shaped camp, and that's when we met, like, yeah, you have a hell of a shop. I mean, it's like you said, like, when you show up and you pull up on the outside, and I'm trying to remember, y'all got like I can't remember exactly, but y'all got like arrow fletchings and posts with arrow fletchings on the outside. So you definitely know it's an archery shop. So that looks pretty dope. And then when you get inside, man, it's just like this. I mean, you got bows on the walls. I mean, how y'all work on the bows, the tuning room, the paper tuning room, and then just how y'all got the store laid out with the different counters. Man, it's a great shop. And then the range that y'all have just on the backside, perfect for league nights and stuff. Man, kudos to y'all. Y'all have got it rocking over there.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Like you said, it was like, man, when I want somebody's attention as soon as they pull in, and I get it every single time, like, man, your guys' place is beautiful. And I'm like, thank you. But let me show you what we really do. You know what I mean? Where it's like, that's so important.
Let me show you the nuts and the bolts of it.
That's right.
So, man, one of the reasons I wanted to get you on here was to talk about the bow buying process. It's the beginning of May. And so people haven't had deer hunting on their minds for a little while, or they haven't had elk hunting on their minds for a little bit. It's kind of been over on turkey hunting, shed hunting, spring scouting. You know, a lot of people may not have even been shooting their bows except for those that might be doing league nights, 3D or tack stuff. And so me being a previous shop owner and manager myself, this is kind of the time of year where people start to come in a lot buying bows, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, yeah. So like in the industry, May, June tend to be the slowest months out of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got your rush January through April with tax season. And then obviously once you get into July here in Central Ohio, one big light bulb that goes off is typically soybean fields are about knee high, and above those soybean fields are whitetail bucks with velvet antlers.
Yep.
And when you start to drive down the roads and see that, the average guy starts to think about what could be in about, 3 months. So, July 4th, we tend to kind of circle on the calendars and say, here we go. From here on out, we don't expect much free time,
Yeah.
And that is definitely kind of the calendar, if you will, to kind of finish the year, with Christmas and everything once you get past the hunting season. So,
yep. Yeah. And, and I wanted to do this podcast because I feel like when it comes to the bow buying process, there's a lot of confusion out there, or there's lots of common misconceptions. Mm-hmm. And I want to get you to kind of walk our listeners through that process, because I think a lot of people, they see marketing for one bow. They might see the brand new RX-7 Ultra that's a $2,000 carbon bow, and they've never shot a bow before. Well, that may not necessarily be the bow for them, but they've got it stuck in their mind that they want that, and they may shoot that thing horribly. They may get it set up wrong by a shop, or they just might have an overall horrible experience and then just end up not bow hunting. So I kind of want you to walk the listener through what they need to do when they go to the shop, and things they need to be thinking about, questions they should think about asking the technician or the shop owner, and anything else that you might have for these guys. So what's kind of the beginning process of that?
Yeah, great. So one thing I kind of see a lot in this industry is people's experience drives their opinion, right? Moving forward. Yeah. We see that a lot in like social media, where I see someone, I can't reply to all this stuff that I read on there because I just, there's not enough time in the day. One of the things I think we've got to deal with here over the last 18 months with this COVID situation is understanding the process is not normal right now to get materials and get your shop filled up, right? One of the things we've dealt with over the last 18 months to start the buying process is you've got to have inventory, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times at the shop here, we've been working 8 months out in front. Now, Will, from your previous experience, to work 8 months in front of the archer in the buying consumer experience is a shot in the dark. We do not know what bow is going to be fired this year. We do not know what color is going to be fired this year, right? Mm-hmm. We kind of we've always relied on kind of the market to kind of dictate those things, right?
Yep.
As well as I do, I'm going to be very open here. We carry 3 brands. I feel like we have 3 giant brands in shop and a large selection of bows for those 3 brands. The first thing I do to a consumer when they come in is, and especially a new buyer, I'll start with that guy. A new buyer, new bow hunter, never been in before. Very rarely does that guy walk in and say, RX-7 Ultra.
Yeah.
$1,800, let's go.
Yeah.
Right? That guy is typically a seasoned veteran or somebody that is trying to shoot the same bow that his buddy shoots. And that's very rare, right? So ultimately, I think the newer buyer comes in, I typically suggest to them the things that they need to keep in mind are, are to keep in mind budget, one.
Yep.
Two, I want to keep in mind the feel and the longevity of this purchase, right? I tend to tell guys, we're going to go grab 3 or 4 bows. We're going to go back in our test room here where we have like all of our like stuff that we can tweak on. We've got a press back here, paper shooter, all that stuff, right?
Yep.
And we're going to come back here and we're going to test shoot these bows. A lot of times people come in this industry, and I'm sure in others, with a preconceived notion of which one they're going to like, right? Via marketing, via branding, all that kind of stuff. Like they kind of come in with a like, hey, I think I want to shoot this bow. Very good. Let me grab that bow and let me grab 3 other ones just like it so that we can say budget wise, we're in a good spot. And now all of a sudden, I want you to turn off your brain what you know about these brands, because when you're buying a bow as a beginning archer, it should be about feel. It should be about comfort. It should be about accuracy. These are things that you think you can repeat. You've never done this before, right? So I want the consumer to not buy based on branding. I want them to buy based on feel. So, yeah, go ahead.
I love that you're saying this because I've been into shops before and they try to push one brand on you or one bow on you. And I hate that. I hate that because, you know, at the end of the day, they may not necessarily have your best intentions in mind. They're just looking at it as, oh, hey, this is another sale. I need to get rid of this inventory. So I'm going to push it on that guy. So I love that y'all do that you take different brands within the same budget of what that person's looking for them to try it out. So I love that y'all do that, man.
Yeah, it's huge. It's super important too, because first off, the audience needs to understand none of those companies that are on my wall are paying for me to go anywhere. Okay. So I have no like brand loyalty to one or the other. I shoot what I'm comfortable shooting with. Right. Mm-hmm. And so it's important for the consumer to understand, listen, I'm not in the back pocket of some brand or something like that. Like they don't provide that for us. Right. So it's not like, I think there's this misconception in the industry, like, oh, that's a Matthews dealer because man, he must sell a ton of Matthews, you know. And it's like, dude, I sell a ton of all 3, and so my goal is is not to push one or the other. I think it's important to know that as a shop, they incentivize us through pricing. Right now, I know this might go down a big rabbit hole of what the consumer doesn't need to understand. But if I sell a bunch of all 3 bows, I get the best price for all 3 bows. If I just sell a ton of one, I only get the best price for that one, you know? So it doesn't make any sense for me to walk in here and go, this brand, and this brand only, right? Mm-hmm. So we give them the floor where I go, it is up to those companies. It is up to your product. It is up to what you make that consumer feel like when he's back here in what we call the 3-foot test, right? Because I'm not loading that bow up with stabilizers. I'm not knocking everything vibration down or doing anything fancy for one bow or the other. I'm like, what's your draw length? What's your poundage? It's time to go mono on these. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So it's very cool. And that's always exciting too. I'll tell you what, it's exciting to watch new archers get in the sport. And I'll tell you, because we are a new shop, this is an out of sight, out of mind sport. I dropped this giant place inside Central Ohio with Matt, and we basically have been selling a ton of new archers equipment over the last couple of years. You could blame that on COVID, wanting to drive people outdoors, you know. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, we are selling a ton of new users equipment, right? And I love
seeing that.
Yeah, it's good. The guys on public land around here in Ohio kind of hate it, but
hey, they'll
get used to it.
Yeah, but when it comes to voting, they won't hate it.
No, exactly. That's right. When we need numbers. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, so, absolutely.
One thing I do talk about a lot is the experienced bow buyer, right? We do have those guys as well. Guys that, you know, we've been here 5 years now. There's definitely guys that they've bought multiple bows from us, right?
Yeah.
they kind of understand our experience here. We certainly have built that reputation. I think a lot of people tend to gravitate to a place once they know you've done it right before they want to come back and get that customer service for their next setup. It was great. We just had a guy come in from New York that saw us on social media, that saw our facility and said, man, I just could not get what I'm looking for at my local shop up here. I'm going to be in your area for vacation. He's like, do you mind if I come over and you guys set my stuff up? And we were like, perfect opportunity. Here we go. Like, yeah, absolutely. Come on over here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, come on over here, Mr. New York. Let's go ahead and let's get you set up. So we did. And, we blew his socks off with all of our stuff. He's like, man, in 20 years, I've never had anybody paper tune my bow. I'm like, well, you have to tend to kind of look around and go, what bow shop am I going to really? And not all are created equal. I realize that,
Right.
Some guy, how it is. Some guys have been doing this for 20 years and they're like, they're tired of it, man. This stuff wears and I get it. You need fresh blood. You need somebody that's motivated, that wants to go in the industry, and stuff like that. And you've been there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those shops exist and I get that. But there's kind of a new norm in the archery industry. And I think the digital age with all the information, like, the podcasts, the videos, guys see what is capable in the service side of this industry. And so
you got to be on top of your game.
Yeah, that's it. Like I literally, in the last 5 years, we've learned so much in what we do every day in this shop, where it's like tuning wise and then the bows are changing every year, the new systems, the new cams, all this stuff. It's like, man, once you understand it and give those people A, B, C, D, and E, you're like, man, these people leave super happy. And some are none the wiser, Will. They've never had a crappy bow shop. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So they're just like, oh, this is great. Thanks, man. See you later. And it's like, dude, that guy has no idea. But thank God he came here.
I know, right?
So that's kind of like when it comes to the experienced buyer, a lot of times they'll walk right in and they go, where's the new Hoyt? Where's the new Matthews? That's the one I want to shoot. Well, there's times where I get the hell out of the way. I'm like, yep, let me go grab it. You know what I mean? Because that guy, he is predetermined. Now, if he's got some open-mindedness to shooting other brands, I'll grab that competitor's flagship bow and throw it in his hands. Let him shoot it. Let him go ahead and decide for himself. A lot of times we're not sitting there like coaching guys up when it's like, oh yeah, they know what they're looking for. They want to feel the draw cycle. They want to know how hard it is to pull at 70 pounds or even, less, whatever. It's just like, I set the bows to be an equal and let the guy just tear it up from there. We cut them loose back here in this back room quite often. Yeah. Where I want every single bow. If you want to test shoot it, let's test shoot it. I don't care. It's throw every comparison I can at you. So yeah, those guys are crazy too, because they've got typically like preconceived notions of how things should work and stuff like that. And I get it. I mean, it's just every bow shop's a little bit different, and we do ours this way. And we've probably converted a lot of people that went to other locations, big box stores or whatnot, and now they see like, holy cow, and then they just brag about you. The word of mouth is the most powerful tool.
Huge, so, dude. Big time.
Yeah.
That was.
We don't honestly. You know how much I'm spending on marketing this year?
Zero.
I'm spending zero, because in year 5, we sit there and go, we have established a customer base that is strong enough for us to literally word of mouth carry us through this year. We are literally testing this, where I go, I'm not putting a billboard up on the major highway out here. We've done that the first 4 years. And I said, let's just take that down. Mm-hmm. Let's see what happens. Matt and I have made some conscious decisions about, where do we invest our dollars? And this year is definitely a test year for us. We're a newer shop, so we don't know what's going to happen. I'm sure there's some marketing guru on here that's about to like rip his hair out and go, what are you doing?
You're going to be getting emails. Well, man, it's just like that customer base, what you're talking about is so strong, because, I mean, dude, I mean, in my shed, I've got my press and I've got the saw and the paper tuner. Like, I've got all my stuff set up to work on my own stuff, and like I'll work on buddies' bows too. I mean, I haven't worked in a shop in 2 years, and I live in a completely different city now, and I still have customers of mine saying, "Hey, man, are you still working on bows? Because either the shop you were at, they don't, they're giving me the runaround, or I don't want to go to another shop. Can you work on my bow for me?" And it's like, they are loyal. They are very loyal, especially when you get their bow set up and they go and kill something with it. Dude, they don't want anybody else to touch their bow.
Exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And one, my sister owns another business where she has a lot of employee turnover, right? And this business, Matt and I, my brother-in-law said, listen, I don't want that. Like, it looks like a nightmare watching her deal with that in a salon atmosphere. And I'm like, I want to incentivize my employees to be the guy for these people. They don't look at me and go, "Oh man, I want Dale to work on my bow all the time." Like, that's not what my goal is. I got to run this place. You know what I mean? Yeah. It is. I want them to look at my techs and go, "Those are my dudes." And that's what we've built. I incentivized my employees. Man, it's 2022. I don't care what anybody says. Trying to get people to work right now is difficult. And so we incentivized our employees more so than probably, I mean, if I can't probably say some of the things we do for these guys, but like financially, they are invested in our company. From a long-term perspective. I'm sure there's other bow techs listening to this. They're like, I'm about to go to my owner right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I want lifers. This is a passion sport. This is not about getting rich. You know what I mean? And so this is probably the worst way you can invest your life savings to make money is go into the archery business, and it's like, dude, but for us, it's a passion project. And you can tell, when you come here, you don't see $80,000 lifted trucks out in the parking lot, man. We're driving beaters every day. You know what I mean? Just trying to be able to go. We want to be able to go on that hunt in Kansas or Montana later this year. It's like, we kind of have our priorities set a little differently, and you can tell, you know what I mean? It's like, this place is legit. Our staff is awesome. And you can tell they're passion driven. That's why they're here. It's not any other reason. And I wanted to incentivize them to say, ride this wave with me for 25, 30 years. Let's do it. You know what I mean? And that was our goal. And I don't know if every other bow shop does that. I don't get to talk to a lot of different bow shop owners. I know a few here locally, but, the big ones that I follow around the country, I'm like, I assume they're doing very similar things, because those guys that they have, those techs, like you said, they're as good as gold. And I want to take care of ours and keep Logan and Jacob, my two techs here. I want them here for a long time because they've built those personal relationships. Yeah. And I think that is the number one thing I can encourage users out there and consumers is find that shop. Don't stop till you do. Find that guy. Like your buddies found you, and like your clients that found you. They'll stick with you 100%. They're not going anywhere. If my techs leave, they're going wherever my tech goes. You know what I mean? Yep. So I'm like, my tech is as good as my business, so I hang my hat on that, Yeah, I promote the hell out of those dudes.
All right, y'all, we're going to interrupt this podcast real quick from a word from our sponsors and to thank them for the support of the HuntStand podcast. First, we got Federal Premium Ammunition. It's federal season. There's nothing louder than a gobble from a long beer that struts in a range, or silence as complete as after you take the shot. Celebrate the ultimate rite of spring with Federal. Up next, we've got Work Sharp Tools. Sharpen every knife you own. And finally, we've got Yamaha Outdoors. Revs your heart. So we just want to thank them for their support of the HuntStand podcast, and we're going to get right back to it. So on the buying process, we've talked about, like, when you walk into that shop, you make sure you try some different bows. Like, if you've got your mind set on one brand already, that's fine. But make sure you go in and try other bows, other companies within that same realm, same budget, same level of the bow, because don't let that shop talk you into pushing you in one brand, because that's opinion based and you may not like a bow compared to how they like it.
Right.
So the next thing I want to talk about is accessories. There is a wide variety out there, and I think a lot of people look at all the different sights, rests, stabilizers, quivers that are out there. How do you walk somebody through picking those? Because it can all come down to weight. Some products I've noticed, depending on how cheap they are, may not last as long. They might rattle when you shoot the bow. So kind of walk me through how you put a customer through picking out those accessories.
Right. So one of the scariest things in buying archery equipment is the fact that you can double the price of that ticket on the bow pretty quickly when you put accessories on it, right?
Oh, yeah. Big time.
So, guys can get kind of nervous at this point. They're like, they already are bending the budget a little bit on the bow, and then they're coming over here and going, okay, now let's keep bending. You know what I mean? Like, let's keep going. So one thing we do is our shop is laid out where I can keep my accessories in front of me once we've picked out the bow. Our goal typically to keep the process moving fluidly that day when someone's buying. For instance, they've walked in, they've shot a couple different bows, they pick this one, they say, sweet. All right, typically at this point, it's time to pick out a rest and a sight, because those are the two things we need to, mainly the rest right off the rip, because I want to start to get things balanced out, leveled up, D-loop, knock sets, all that good jazz, right?
Yep.
So the rest conversation for us, once again, I don't think I've ever sold a whisker biscuit. Listen, if you've got consumers that are talking about whisker biscuits, great. I get it. I mean, my shop does not sell whisker biscuits. Okay. I want more performance than that. Yeah. I just can't do it. Okay. We get them to shoot sometimes pretty well when someone brings us stuff, but long story short, you're just never going to find one here.
You ever had somebody try to get you to paper tune using a whisker biscuit?
100%. 100%.
Oh God.
Dude, it happens all the time. So here's the thing. They bring it in. Hey, can you tune my bow? Sure. I've got a whisker biscuit. Okay. We already know this is going to be in the back of our heads. We're going, great. This is going to get messy.
Oh yeah.
So we, so many times we will go the extra mile, where I go, okay, we're going to shoot it through paper now. Shoot it. Great. Shoot it again. Shoot it again. And then we're going to go, all right, let me see that thing real quick. And then we'll rip that rest off and put a drop away on there real fast. Right. And literally the cleanup is now. It's like boom, like, oh
wow.
So yeah. Oh, I didn't. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Yeah. I didn't, bullet holes I get are not like the be all end all. That's one thing I'm not pushing, but I'm saying like it shows off how inconsistent this thing is. And I'm like, yeah, a brand new one can be pretty consistent, but it doesn't work very long, But anyways, we get the rest going. I want the rest situation going because that allows the tech to take over and start balancing some stuff out. Right.
Yeah.
Right next to the rests in my countertop are the sights. Sights are probably the most common thing I see come in that outside of bows where the opinions are all over the place. I mean, I'm sure you shoot a different sight than I do. It's just it's personalized to each user. Yeah. I think some of them are heavy. Some of them have a lot of screws. Some of them don't hold up very well on travel. They just want to come loose and things like that. Some companies are beautiful at it, and some companies make stuff that just gets you by, right?
Yeah.
And what you're used to as a shooter or not used to can like, especially for a new user, this can be overwhelming for them. They're like, my buddy uses this, or my dad uses this, and I'm like, very good. Let's break this down then into budget, because clearly, from a sight perspective, this is overwhelming. So let's get into a budget question where I'm like, what are you willing to spend on a sight? Here's 20 options. And when I give somebody that many different options, they're kind of overwhelmed. So we just go after like not only I'm not trying to spend all their money. That's not what I'm doing. I'm literally just trying to simplify their decision-making process.
Yep.
And show them some of the coolest features about those sites. It might be $180 single pin. It might be a $430 single pin. You know, they're kind of in the middle. Great. There's a $330 single pin out there, you know? So just explaining some of those features to them is probably the lengthiest process. We've got that process of selling that actual bow down so fast. It's when you're getting into sights and rests. Rests are pretty simple because it's either fall away or limb driven in this shop, you know? So that turns into a pretty quick situation. But man, sights can get lengthy, and that's okay. They're complex pieces of equipment, and these companies are machining out a very expensive, you know, accessory that goes on your bow, right? So that kind of starts that process there when it comes to accessories. I think the most underutilized tool in archery is stabilization. Okay.
I agree.
Yeah. So we get the rest, we get the sight. Quivers are pretty self-explanatory, right? We get into stabilizers, and now we're getting towards the back of the budget, right? We're also starting to get towards that, oh man, I've spent a lot of money already, you know, and it's like, yeah, but now I'm about to put the most effective piece of equipment on your bow to make you a better shooter, right? And I see it all the time. You know, we get guys 10 years ago that were running 6-inch stabilizers that were basically just vibration dampers.
The little limb savers.
Yeah, man, right? They're at the point now where I'm getting them when they come in on like a 2007 switchback from Matthews. Yeah. It's literally like I grab that stabilizer to turn it off and it melts into my hand. Oh, yeah. And like I literally have the rubber on my hands. Like, what is this thing? You know what I mean?
What was this?
Yeah. Okay. So this was reducing vibration. Perfect. Okay. So let's get a stabilizer, right? So a lot of times guys are very reluctant. I will say this, that is a growing trend. And I think it's because of what you guys do, like in your world on social media, what the YouTube world has done for our sport, showing guys and encouraging guys like, listen, you can hunt with an 8, 10-inch, 12-inch stabilizer out front. No problemo. Are you just running into trees blatantly? You know, like, what are you trying to do? You don't have to run a 6-inch stabilizer, you know, or a Yoast weight on the front of that thing. Like, you can do better than that. So we are target archers. Will, I don't talk enough about that. Like, our goal is to encourage not only hunters, right, but year-round shooters. And how do you get a year-round shooter? Typically, they're shooting something competitive or events like TAC, right? Probably a TAC guy. Did you go to the one in Texas there?
Oh, yeah. I went to Texas and then went to a bunch last year, like Big Sky, Park City, Colorado. Exactly. It was fun.
This is what I want. As a bow shop, I call you 10%ers, right? Guys that are shooting year-round, 100% focused on their stuff. For hunting, that's great. But I want you shooting year-round, competing year-round, or at least having fun with your bow year-round, not collecting dust till September. Yeah. Okay. Right. So we get that a lot around here. We are trying to convince guys that, dude, this can be sweet. This can be fun year-round. And one thing that like will make you a better shooter year-round is stabilization. Right. And getting out there and stretching that yardage a little bit. So we're pushing that. We push it hard. I and when I say push, I explain it vehemently to these guys. Like, you have to understand, I can affect how your pin floats, not just left, right, up, down in a figure 8. I can affect all that with the stabilization on your bow. And I'm like, have you ever paid attention to what you're actually fighting when you shoot a bow? You know, like, are you dipping out the bottom? Are you figure 8ing super slow? Are you figure 8ing really fast? Right? Are you a side-to-side wiggle, left and right? You know, like, what are you seeing your pin do? And we can affect that through stabilization and where that weight is placed. So, yeah, I think it's the most underutilized tool, and we push it hard. We sell a lot of 8 and 10-inch bars in this shop, and that's good because we're just getting guys started. You know, I run a 12-inch bar on my bow, you know, because I started shooting competitive archery and realized really quickly how effective it can make me, like
big time.
Wow. Yeah. Huge. Right. Especially when we're talking about chasing animals out west and shooting longer distances and making more tough shots. Hunters are taking tougher shots than we ever have, but I think it's because of our equipment and what we're able to accomplish with it. So yeah, that's like accessory wise, it's endless. I mean, I just doubled the price of your bow with the 5 things we just talked about,
Big time.
Right.
And I think, the other thing that I think people will also, I guess the best way to put this is they cheap out on it because
100%.
they got the bow, they got the accessories, and now we're looking at arrows.
Yep.
And that's another crucial part. And to me, it's one of the most crucial parts.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, that's what's killing the animal that you're going after, or that's what's going after the target. And I feel like I've had guys come in and, we start looking at, we've got the bow in their hands. They've got the accessories that they didn't skimp out on. They got a good set of accessories. And then now they're looking at arrows and they're like, wait a minute, you're talking $13, $14, $15 an arrow. And they're like, well, is there a $9 an option? I was like, hold up. Let me explain to you. So explain that for us, Dale.
So 2 things. One, if you're a newer archer, I tend to sell a newer archer a less expensive arrow, right?
Right.
I will say that because I do know they're about to go lose every single one of them, break them all. You know how that goes. When you're a newer archer, you're working on sites, you're trying to understand how a bow works. You're going to touch one off and it's going to go 300 yards when you sky draw it, right? And it's like, yep, that one ain't coming back.
She gone.
Yeah, I'll do that for entry level archers for sure.
Yeah, the guys that are in the backyard, they probably aren't hunting yet, wouldn't you say?
Right, exactly. This is totally the guy that came in last week, May 1st, bought a new bow, never hunted. I sent him out with a dozen, 6, whatever, inexpensive arrows. Go sight in, go learn how your bow works, right? You're going to lose arrows in the backyard. We're definitely not going hunting in the next 3 months. That's just not on the deck of cards.
Yeah.
So, but when it comes to the experienced archer, I think a lot of guys have found a happy place between the $150 6-pack and the $55 6-pack with 003 straightness. Some companies 001 straightness, depending on what you're dealing with. There's a bunch of really awesome quality, and I speak in the world of 6-packs. We deal with a lot of 6-pack fletched arrows. Yeah. I am not big and bad like some of those bow shops cross country that can like literally pay a dude whatever to fletch and wrap arrows 24/7. We just don't have that demand. Where I'm at in Central Ohio, we tend to have a very simplistic version of hunting, jump in a tree stand and go, just make sure my bow's a good quality, make sure my arrow's a good quality. But beyond that, we're not shooting year round. We don't have these badass tack events like you guys have all over the place, Yeah. It's like we joke. We're like, we got Billy Bob Hunter in Central Ohio, and he's been running out into the woods. October 1st is like when the brain flicks on for him. Mm-hmm. So if he's got a really nice piece of equipment that he's shooting for a month and a half leading up to the season, man, they're about simplicity around here. I think that can be completely different when you go to different, parts of the country geographically.
Dude. Austin, Texas, where I used to manage a shop. Oh my God. I couldn't tell you how many arrows I've wrapped, how many veins I've put on. It's insane. I'm going to deviate here just a quick second. I had a guy, I had to do 200 Easton FMJs. 200.
Holy cow.
And the guy that came in and picked them up, I'm like, are these for you? And he goes, no, man, these are for my boss. I'm like, why does your boss need 200 arrows? And he's like, man, he goes, if he misses a target, he doesn't even go and look for the arrow. I'm like, what?
Wow.
I mean,
this guy, he can come buy arrows and bows for me all he wants, whoever that.
That's what I said. I said, hey, tell you what, next time he needs another order, let me know.
That's right. That's right. Holy cow. I mean, and that's the thing around here. this is farm country, man. We got a lot of farmers, a lot of old timers that dude, you know, they're just not big spenders like that. They'll do it, you know, on good quality stuff.
Yeah.
But they're not they don't just waste money. You know, they are tight to the vest. They want good quality stuff. They'll pay top dollar for good quality stuff.
Oh yeah.
But they're not going to overspend like and just spend frivolously like that. Like it's very tight here in the Midwest, and so people just, you don't see that very often, right? And so for us, I think they're in the arrow buying world. You see a lot of guys that meet halfway. You know, for us personally, we sell a ton of 003, you know, Axis, good quality 5mm arrow, right?
Yep.
Like you can't really go wrong with that arrow. And I tell guys, I'm like, listen, if you go into a shop across the country and you need some Axis, if you can't find them, look around. I'm going, should you be here? Because if they don't have an Axis 5mm arrow, I don't know what to tell you. You know, I'm not really biased to Easton. I'm not, but I'm just like, hey, that's a pretty damn good arrow for $100.
It's standard.
Yeah, it's kind of the industry standard, right? Like,
yeah,
it's just where you start. And if you are above and beyond that with like 001s, hey man, more power to you. But like, we sell a ton of those, you know. And then the guys, the Rampages, the 5mm, the 5mm thing, you know, not to get off on a huge tangent, but the 5mm thing's really taken off. A lot of people in my shop running 5mm.
Yep.
The standard arrow is kind of getting, I don't know, tired. You know, it's like guys are looking for something new. They're looking for something fun, a little bit better quality.
Trendy.
Yeah. And that 5mm is definitely it. Because you really can't find a cheap, crappy 5mm. You just can't. You can find maybe some components you don't like on that 5mm, but typically on a 5mm arrow, it's a great quality arrow, you know? So
heck yeah,
we sell a lot of that stuff. Victory, Rip TKOs, Axis 5mm, and Black Eagle Rampage. I mean, I think I just named 3 of my top 5 sellers, you know?
Yep. Those are industry standards, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we're seeing. And so arrow buying, you know, a lot, I think most guys are understanding, like, yes, you can go buy a $7 005 arrow, cut it down short, and it's not that bad. It's really not.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if you're a 31-inch draw, I tell guys right off the rip, that's a big thing too. Like, no one wants to talk about straightness out the box. You know, there's a lot that goes into arrows, but like, you know, if you're a bigger draw, 29, 30, 31-inch draw, you don't in my opinion, you don't really have the luxury of going cheap. You have to get an arrow that is straight if you want any kind of performance, because we're not going to be cutting a whole lot of that arrow off.
No.
Right? This thing needs to be straight out the box. So a lot of times with bigger guys, I tend to tell them, you know, like, hey, sorry, if you want top-notch quality out of your Ferrari that you just bought, we need to slap some high-end Pirellis on this thing with these arrows, because if we're just going to slap some Goodyears on here, you're wasting your money. You know, you're not going to get the performance out of your bow that you just spent $2,000 on, you know? So, yeah. And bow prices, woof. Yeah. I don't want to go there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Long story short, they just keep going up.
They do, man. They do. Yep. Well, man, I love all this that we're getting the listeners. So if you had to condense this down, very briefly to the listener, give me a quick point to tell them on the bow itself, the accessories, and the arrows, to condense it all down real quick, because those are the main things. Like, yes, there's targets, there's bow cases, there's bow slings, there's a whole bunch of other things you can put on the bow, but those are the main things to get you out and started shooting, obviously. So condense that down for us real quick on those 3 points. Yeah.
Like, basically, I want someone to come in, test shoot a bow. I want them to test shoot multiple bows, ideally, give themselves a well-rounded decision, so there's no buyer's remorse there. I want them to be open-minded on accessories, because I don't think you have to spend as much as you did on your bow on accessories, but know that this is a buy once, cry once sport. Yeah. It can be, right? And we talk about that a lot, where guys kind of teeter in between a $450 sight. Well, I look at him dead in the face and I go, you know, you're an experienced bow hunter. I'm looking at you, Will, and going, you may not need a sight for 5 years or 10 years if you buy this sight right now. Like, you're done.
Yeah.
But if you buy this one that's only $150 less, there's room for desire. You're leaving room for desire. And in a hobby, why would you do that? You know, like, ultimately, I tell guys, I'm like, save your $100. Go save $100 so you can do this and only have to do it once. Not everybody does that. I get it.
Yeah.
Archery, we do our arrows here a little bit differently. A lot of guys want to come in with arrow that they designed and they built, right? And it's like, dude, you do not. Yeah, I hear you laughing because this is exactly what you run into. And you go, let's go back here and shoot your bow with a 300, a 350, and a 400. I send out new bows all the time with specs that you would think, you're like, there's no way that's not the chart. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Dude, it's not. It's not supposed to be a chart. It's bow to bow to bow. It's draw length and poundage and bow and arrow. There's a combination there. So when guys bring me $250 worth of beautiful, Will wrapped them and Will put all the fletchings on them, and man, they're badass arrows. And then we shoot them through his bow and it looks like, you know, booty. And it's like, dude, I don't know what to tell you right now other than you should buy arrows after you have your bow tuned and figure out what your bow likes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Then pick arrows. So a lot of times we tune them, we shoot them through paper, and we say this bow likes a 350. Now let's go 350 shopping. Don't bring me 300s that are cut down like to 27 inches. And you go, well, I'm 70 pounds, 28 inches. And I go, you have no idea what this arrow is going to do, bud, but whatever. You know what I mean? Let's go shoot it. So long story short, that's how we do it here. We tend to like encourage our buyers, like, don't get ahead of yourself on arrows. Do arrows last, you know, and tune that bow. Yep. It's super crucial. That's one thing. You know, let your consumers take that for sure. Don't get too crazy on your arrows just yet. Go figure out what kind of poundage you like, what draw length you are. Grab a couple spines, you know, from Lancaster. You can buy shafts, people. It's like, buy 2 or 3 shafts of different spines so that you can run these tests and see what you think before you go spend $300 or buy 200 FMJs. I mean, think about that, Will.
Yeah.
If that dude rolls up to that bow, he's got 200 FMJs that you just spent 3 days wrapping, and the freaking bow don't shoot it good. Like, oh my God, what a waste.
Man, and I even tried to do that too when he called me up. I'm like, man, I need you to bring the bow in. I want to make sure we're doing this right. He's like, oh, no. I've had these. I've had them built forever. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
That'll be $3,000
my whole life. Yeah.
That'll be $3,000.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one big thing I encourage your consumers for sure.
Yeah. He bought all my FMJs that day. So no, I had one guy.
Getting those nowadays too.
It's man. Bad. Well, and the other, I will say the one thing about arrows, like kind of coming back to, you know, saving the arrow for last. I've had guys come in before. He's like, oh, I've shot this arrow for this many years and this and that, and it's a 300 with 125 grains up front, and then he's got a collar and then brass, and then FOC's like, dude, I'm surprised that thing's just not nose diving into the ground right out the bow. And
we need a T-post to keep this thing straight.
Yeah, I know, right? And you know, we're trying to paper tune this thing. It's just all over the place. And I'm like, you know what? We're gonna throw 100 grains on the front. First shot, bullet hole.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, their life, it's like they've questioned their whole entire life up to that point.
Oh, they want to throw up.
I know.
They want to throw up. They've been spending endless hours on the computer, waiting weeks for points to show up. Then they get it, and then it's like this huge, massive letdown. Because it's just like, we need like a 150. You're going to have to get something like that we don't even carry. You know, we got to find this if you're going to run this setup, you know, and it's like, if there's one thing I rely heavily on, there's a lot of people that are around me that are smarter than me, right?
Yes.
And when I go to engineers for these big companies, that this is their life. And then it comes in a 6-pack and I go, holy cow, they've built something incredible that we can all use. We don't have to I'm not going to go reinvent the wheel. 90% of the arrows on my wall right now are built for these bows, ready to go. Throw a 100 grain point on there and I bet you're going to get something real nasty, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've had some of those crazy arrows.
Oh, dude, yeah, that'll knock us out here. That'll we just kind of eyes to the back of the head like, woof. What video did you watch?
Where did you get this information?
Yeah.
Well, man, I love it, dude. I love it. I think we've got a lot of really good information here that these listeners, whether they're new bow hunters or they've been in it for a while and they may have had a bad buying experience. I mean, of course, they can come to Marysville, Ohio, and come see you at Attaboyz Archery, but they kind of know now going into that
jet.
They after listening to this, they know now what to do when going into that shop and what to look for, what to do, and questions to ask. So I love it, man.
That's super important. Yeah, it's super important. I want to encourage anybody listening, listen, don't be intimidated. I think that's the biggest thing with this sport. We see a lot of machos in this sport that scare the absolute bejeebies out of people thinking I can't do that. I got 12 and 13-year-old kids shooting on my range that we don't talk about them a whole heck of a lot, but this sport's for anybody, man. This is like golf. So don't be intimidated to go to your local pro shop. And if you have a bad experience, do a Google search. Everybody knows what Google is. You can find the next one. Go after it. Go see them. Travel a little bit. Go see these places. See what you're dealing with.
Yep, exactly. Well, Dale, I love it, man. Where can we find y'all? Where can we find y'all on social media?
Yeah, man. I think our Instagram tag is Attaboyz Archery Center on Instagram. We're on Facebook as well. Attaboyz Archery on Facebook. You can Google us, obviously, as well as find us online at attaboyzarchery.com. That's ATTABOY with a Z. Archery.com. So anytime you guys can call us with questions. We kind of follow some of the bigger shops in the country, and we kind of talk with them a little bit, and it's always fun to hear different stories, different opinions. And consumers are always interesting for sure. You know how it is in 2022 and dealing with people, right? So it's always interesting.
Yep. Well, Dale, I love it, man. I really appreciate you hopping on the HuntStand podcast with me today.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you having us on and letting us talk and letting us tell everybody about our shop. And Will, best of luck, man. I think you're on to big things, man. It's great following you, and good luck with all of it, buddy.
I appreciate it, brother. There you go, everybody. Dale brought a lot of knowledge bombs to you, some golden nuggets. Hopefully, y'all will be able to take a lot of what we talked about today before you go into your archery shop next to go and buy another bow, or whether you're going in to buy accessories or new arrows. But hopefully you'll be able to take something from this, you've learned from it, and have a great bow buying experience. So make sure you take that on in there, go in, shoot a bunch of bows, check out all the different accessories, make sure you keep that budget in mind because you don't want to make the wife angry. And this also applies to the wives. You don't want to make the husband angry either for all the women out there that are bow hunters. So nonetheless, we just want to thank all of y'all for tuning into the HuntStand podcast. We hope you enjoy, and we will see you on the next one.